Hey everybody, welcome to episode 16 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
And I'm Ben Lesnick.
And we hit $55 million this week.
That is a crazy amount of crowdfunding.
It is a crazy amount of crowdfunding. Did you pick up your reclaimer?
I did. I picked up a reclaimer, a nice big ship. It's selling amazingly well. People are really into the salvage mechanic. It's cool they're seeing kind of beyond the basics of Star Citizen. They're seeing more than just dogfighting there. Stuff are coming on down the line. It's pretty...
I think it's a very cool thing to do, but I didn't get one because it's just big.
What, you don't like big ships?
I love big ships, but I'm just a bit nervous to... I'm never even going to get it out of my hangar. You need more than one person to fly that, don't you?
Well, you're the boss. You make James
right,
and
like
Lily
just get everybody else to
yeah.
fly it for me? Right, sure. PAX, speaking of my peeps, PAX Australia tickets are still on sale, and there are 20 left. Get yours.
Hopefully less by the time you see this, but Australians, step it up. We want to see you.
Yes, we do want to see you. It is going to be a very fun event. Redacted FPS.
Meanwhile, before that, we have CitizenCon coming up in just a week.
We do have CitizenCon, and we're all in a slight panic.
We've got a lot of video to edit, a lot of something we can't talk about to show off. It's going to be cool, but right now it seems like it's impossible to get there.
Right. People are packing swag bags in our office.
Yep.
There's all sorts of things happening.
Everybody has something to do right now.
Yes, and people are receiving their constellation models.
Yes, I've seen a lot of threads about it. People are happy with how they look. If you haven't gotten your model yet, it should arrive shortly, assuming that Wong has not taken it.
I know, and if Mr. Wong has taken yours, or yours showed up with a little piece missing, or a slight little problem, we will have that fixed.
Yes, just write into CS. They will be happy to hear from you. Maybe not happy, but they'll do a good job of taking care of you, at least.
Yes, we will take care of you. And the patch, the latest patch, what has it been?
The patch is out. Came out on Tuesday of this week. Star Citizen 13-point run, Arena Commander 0.9.1. Adds your first key customization, brings back private matches, all sorts of good stuff in this one.
Can you just say that again? The patch is out.
The patch is out.
Yeah, it's perfect. Because usually we get to this and we go, right, the patch isn't out. What we're going to say, the patch isn't out.
Yeah, usually our scripts have a lot more question marks in them.
Yes, they do.
But for once, we got the patch out earlier in the week. It seems to be working. Everything's great. How's it going with you guys?
So happy patching.
Well, now it's time for news from around the verse. Let's do this module by module.
Arena Commander, plans for Phase 2 of our leaderboards are being designed.
That's right. With patch 13, we released the leaderboards on the website. Some of you have been racking up scores. In fact, I think we just moved to our second season or pre-season of leaderboards. But we're working on new functionality, new modes, more data, which is great because it's stuff we couldn't do before the patch was out, and we weren't getting data from anyone. Limited amount of QA data. That's it. Now that it's in the wild, we can really perfect leaderboards.
Are you on it yet?
I'm not.
Anywhere
so
near it?
Don't look for me. Don't see how bad I am at Arena Commander.
Right. Controls and targeting are receiving improvements.
Yes, in fact, as you saw from 13.1, control customization is now in, and we're working on kind of fine-tuning that so you'll be able to adjust more joystick-specific things like dead zones, that sort of thing.
Visor hood holo panel is being optimized.
As you know, Arena Commander is a work in progress, so the guys working on the UI, Zane, the team at Behavior, are constantly making improvements, and they've got some cool things that are going to appear on kind of the visor part of your HUD going forward.
Squadron 42, zero-G traversal prototype has been completed.
Yep, you will be getting out of your ship with some frequency in Squadron 42, and we need to make it fun.
Shubin Grey Box has been balanced and polished.
Yep, last time we said you weren't going to hear about the Shubin Grey Box, but we lied. It's a little bit more polishing, but it's looking amazing right now.
Paw and looting mechanics are currently being prototyped. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
PAW.
Well.
Right, C for the explanation and description below.
You got me on that one, Foundry. No idea.
Persistent universe. Concepts for drone props have been completed.
Yep. In fact, if you check back tomorrow, you're going to see art of one of those drones in our monthly report.
Research and development has started for NPCs in the PU.
That's right. As you saw from one of the recent stretch goals, Tony Zervek and the team in Austin are trying to have all sorts of more realistic, we'll say, NPCs in the universe. So there's going to be, vandals writing graffiti on the wall. There's going to be people begging for money, people tending bars, all sorts of background roles you would take for granted in any other game.
Are we going to do those?
Yeah.
Begging for money.
Oh, you going to mocap the beggar?
Exactly. The janitor, the beggar. I can jack of all trade it. Remember those cargo containers that were textured last week? Well, now they have tarps.
Tarps.
As in tarpaulins. Right?
What?
As in a tarpaulin?
What's a tarpaulin? Is that?
It's like a... Are you serious? It's like a cover.
Yeah, a cover. Is that what that...
Yeah, well, what is it?
Yeah, the cover's over there.
All right. Moving right along.
It's like an Australian thing.
No, it's not an Australian thing. Carrick Bridge and exterior work continues.
Yep. Gurmak here in Santa Monica is doing the work on the Carrick, and if you follow Sandy's Facebook, you may have seen a sneak preview at some point.
Ah, yes. That's what I was posting. No, just joking. 2 Mustang variants have completed modeling while work continues on the others.
Yep, every Mustang is at this point in some stage in the CryEngine. I think the Standard and the Racer are pretty much done at this point, and the other variants to be announced are almost there.
And the Mustang has received an initial hood.
That's right. So you'll be flying around sooner than later, we hope.
And finally, animation for the Mustang Omega has been completed.
Yep, that's the one that you'll be available through the deal with AMD. If you pick up one of their graphics cards in the near future, it'll come with a code to get a Mustang Omega, but it'll also be available in the Persistent Universe and possibly some other ways in the future.
Woohoo! And we have finally convinced our socialite writers, David and William, to do a Writer's Corner.
Yes, I know they are camera shy, but we love having them on the show. Let's go over to David and William.
Hello, I'm Dave Haddock.
And hi, I'm Will Weisbaum.
We are the happy-go-lucky writing team on Star Citizen.
We are the lore team. So, we've been pretty busy working on story stuff.
Yeah, a lot of story. A lot of Squadron 42, some growing Persistent Universe stuff. A lot of, interestingly enough, a lot of mechanical stuff with the PU. So it's figuring out systems. Conversation system is our big bane right now.
Yeah, really getting away from the high level and starting to get into the nitty gritty of how we're going to tell the story moment to moment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and what the player experience is going to be like, and all that type of stuff. So it's been weird.
Yeah, and going from a very cinematic experience in Squadron 42 and seeing how that's going to translate into the more open nature of the Persistent Universe has been really interesting, because they both kind of have their own very specific needs, but we want them to feel kind of all one game, all Star Citizen.
Yeah,
so
be able to bounce seamlessly between one or the other and still feel like you're part of the same universe.
Yeah, and we jump from like these grand epic stories down to kind of, working on the brochures we've been churning out, and working on commercial scripts, which I love working on the commercial scripts. It's a lot of fun.
Congratulations on the Galactic Gear one.
Well, thank you.
That was good. Very good. You're juggling a lot of different mediums in this. It's it's prose, it's screenplays, it's commercials, it's brochures, it's ad copy, it's dispatches. It's all sorts of any day is any number of possible.
That's definitely been like the absolute best thing about working here so far, is just the variety of content I get to work on. It's not just one thing. Every day brings a new challenge into the Star Citizen universe. So.
Yes.
Big exciting thing that's happening this week is congratulations to you on 100 Spectrum dispatches.
We are, 100 news updates in. The Word document is now 251 pages.
251 pages. That is crazy.
Yeah, it is really nuts.
How long has it been time-wise? When did the first dispatch come out?
The first one came out, I think it was October. It was probably like, maybe it's November. I think it was like a week or two after No, oh, it was actually probably a week or two after the GDC announcement. So after October 10th, we had decided that, in talking with Chris, to the time capsules were so popular that it was sort of like, well, let's just kind of keep that going. So it was that Cassandra's Tears and Kid Crimson were all 3 being done at the same time. So it was sort of, they had the 2 serials at the beginning and the end of the week, and then the news update was in the middle. So it was sort of just another way to kind of keep stuff coming out and start to keep developing the universe. And the time capsules were fun because they allowed us to explore the universe in very weird ways, like the book report and the movie review and talking about jump point discovery and stuff like that were just sort of fun ways that what didn't feel as dry as just kind of going, in this date, this happened. And
yeah, they took on a lot of different perspectives of people living inside the universe, which was really interesting.
Yeah, and and also give some personality to the people who were telling you this information. And some of them could have agendas. They might be telling you something that might not be entirely true.
Did you feel like the pressure more on those early ones when there was less of the rest of the game around, and it was just you?
Yeah, that was awful. Those early ones were really hard because we had nothing to talk about. Couldn't mention ships because we realized very quickly that if we mentioned a ship, there was an expectation that it was going to be in the game. And because there weren't any design things, it was really tough to kind of come up with stuff to talk about. So a lot of those early ones were very cryptic in their data.
Because nowadays we can go on to the internal documentation and kind of browse around design documents and draw inspiration.
Or talk to the designers directly and be
right.
like, oh, hey, we're thinking about doing something about this. Are we on the right track? Is there anything we shouldn't say?
Because, that's something worth interesting to mention, that, we vet everything that we write past, Rob from a design point and through Chris and Ben and David Lederman, and just get all their input to make sure that everything's lining up with this wide kind of world we're creating.
Well, and also, interestingly enough, if it's not exactly how it's going to be, we're not touching on something and how it's not going to be, which is kind of if we don't get specific, it's okay, but as long as we're not painting people into the wrong idea of how it's going to go. So it's sort of in the wheelhouse, but it might not be specific, but it's kind of close to it. It becomes a...
Yeah, because as much as we always say, the story is changing and developing as design certain, gets more certain as the time passes, but we really try hard to make sure we don't have to retcon anything.
Yeah, seriously. Because it just, we've tried to be very upfront, about the sort of, we might have to retcon stuff, but I don't know, I would hate to do it.
To be honest, we have snuck in
done a couple
there.
ones,
We go back and maybe no one's noticed, change a few dates here and there or something like that. But
we keep it small. It's hopefully it doesn't ever become a thing where it's like, oh yeah, and there are elves now. So it's keeping it very kind of very simple and very oh well, we said it was this date where this event happened. I remember Battle of Centauri 4 was one of them. It's the infamous Squadron 42 battle. We sort of changed the dates to line up with the news update, that you were working on, just to kind of keep it in line. But that's a small, little detail.
So you came up with a lot of the different things. When I came on board, a lot of the different shows and types of dispatches were already in place. And so it seems like you were really trying to capture a wide variety of perspectives.
Yeah, we're trying to cover all of our bases, so there's sort of at least one thing per sphere of influence that we could sort of comment on.
Have you been surprised by what the backers have kind of latched onto and what they've just flat out told you, we don't want to read about this?
Yes. Congress now, remarkably, people seem to like a lot, which I wouldn't have thought would have been a really exciting one. Things about congressmen bickering, but people hate Starwatch. That seems to be the consistent thing, which is a shame because I think it's funny.
You told me that. You gave me the warning. If people don't like Starwatch, and I took it on myself. I'm like, no, we can do this. I really like it. Let's see if we can bring it out. And
no, it's not a. Which is fun. Again, the funny thing too. Also, the big irony was that when the day yours posted, it was the day of James Ellroy's new book came out, which was the inspiration for the original Starwatch, because he used to write in that very kind of clipped, jazzy, alliterative Pro style, which was entirely what I was ripping off to do the first Starwatch. And yeah, people hated it so much. So yeah, we haven't really done that. I think we had talked about a possible alternative solution for getting out our pop culture, but yeah, Starwatch is just not. People aren't.
I mean, correct us if we're wrong. Silent Starwatch fans out there, now's your chance to speak.
Time to rally. And it will be crickets.
Yeah, because it's weird because such a big part of the fiction is kind of these fake shows. So we figured like this meta look at that kind of subversive culture.
I think it's weird because actually I think the theory, or my theory about it was, it wasn't the fact that it was about celebrities. It was about the type of celebrities that it was talking about. It was this very kind of like TMZ. Kind of celebrities that people hate. So I think that might have been the misdirection on my part for the first issue, was that it was kind of a lot of people that aren't very sympathetic in general that you kind of want to see fail, but yeah, particularly because with the lore builder we did a call for celebrities, and it was wildly popular. People were sending in all sorts of celebrities. So I thought, oh well, maybe I was just wrong. Maybe Starwatch was actually something to pursue, and then you gave it a shot, and
well, we'll keep trying. It's really great though when we get the feedback from the backers. That's why Lore Builder is so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the creativity and being able to draw upon that as a source for the fiction we do.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean the last time, it's been about a year I think since we did it before, and the Ask a Dev has helped. Of which we're both big fans of working on, but because it gives that sort of interactivity and the forum for them to kind of pitch ideas and bounce off of us and stuff. But Lore Build is a kind of a different beast, and is so much fun. I'd forgotten how much fun it is to just kind of check every day and see the sheer number of comments that people are submitting 2 to 3 to 4 things on their own, and just really fun and imaginative and interesting ways. And I don't know. It's cool seeing people get that excited about stuff.
And it's kind of something that's a little bit unique to Star Citizen, because this active engagement with the people who are going to consume the final product or getting a say in it during its development. Yeah. Normally it's kind of, writers work silently and then throw it out and see what sticks, but now it's much more active than that.
Right.
Which, going through the responses, even if we don't use every single one of them directly, seeing the kind of stuff that people are interested in, want to know more about, or think deserves to be in the universe, like just seeing the demand for a high quality rum, like it's clear that's a passion of people.
So with the games that you would come from much more kind of closed development thing, right?
Oh, super closed development, very secretive for years, big announce and shows a trailer, and that was it. And the only kind of feedback came from small QA testing kinds of groups where we have 10 or 15 people come and play the game and see if those folks understand it, and then everything else is kind of. So to be able to sit here and get to test stuff actively, to feel out like, oh, they really like this aspect of bounty hunting, and like we can develop a story off this line, and seeing what characters float to bring back into the persistent universe and how they can tie in. Right. It's fantastic. It's a really cool opportunity. So thank you.
So thanks for watching. I'm Dave.
And I'm Will.
And we will see you guys on the forums.
Thanks, guys. Now it's over to Will for this week's MVP.
Hey everybody, I'm lead moderator Will, here to bring you this week's MVP. This week's MVP goes to ChamWow for his fictional trademark infringement towards the Mustang Omega. As a response, we've decided to investigate not only his claim, but the organization Omega Corp for any wrongdoing. Your move, Omega Corp. So thank you very much, ChamWow. You're this week's MVP.
Thanks, Will. I love seeing it when the community gets involved in this stuff. It makes you believe in what you're doing.
Now on to Mark with another installment of
Bug Smashers.
Hey everyone, all aboard the Bug Express. Damn it. Hey everyone, all aboard the Bug Express. Next stop, Smashville. Bug Smashers! Hey everyone, today's bug has to deal with teleportation and what we're doing to fix that up. The current bug is to deal with the IFCS. When you teleport, it just goes all out of whack. That's because IFCS is taking the current position and the current rotation into account, and then when you teleport it, it could be this gigantic gap, and it just goes completely insane. Physics programmer John Pritchett was the guy to fix that up, so let me show you what he did and what the bug is. So I'm here in my Hornet. I'm going to let this guy boot up, and I have a special key here that will teleport my ship. Ooh. In that one time it was okay. Got to move around a little bit. There it goes. Ship just wiggles around all crazily. There's actually two bugs here. One is the camera doesn't update until the next frame, so you kind of see a weird jump. The other one is the ship rumbling like crazy, and that's due to the large gap between where I teleported and what IFCS thinks my last rotation was. So anytime we teleport, we get this callback right here to the flight controller telling us that we have updated or teleported our entity. This was what the code looked like before, and this was what John's fix essentially was to do. So let me hop in the game, trigger the teleport. I had a little bit of code here to automatically disable it, and so what I'm going to do now is enable it. So now the reset code will get called. Oh, that was a sad clap. So as I'm flying around, you'll notice it's just the camera flipping out and not the whole ship rumbling like crazy. So IFCS is now correctly resetting when you fly about, and that is one little fix on the teleportation. We'll probably have some more. Pretty much we want to fix up that camera so that it's not the lag behind, but that will be for another day. And that was a simple fix by John Pritchett. Whee! All right, so today's bug had to deal with teleportation. We want the ships to teleport around pretty seamlessly as possible. However, it's pretty much broken as you see here. There's two bugs. The camera, which still has not been fixed, will wait a frame before updating. So you will see a sudden snap. And the other problem was IFCS was taken into account your rotation, your position. So when you jump from this small point to this huge large point, a lot of the IFC calculations were just freaking out. And our physics programmer, John Pritchett, put in a fix for that to reset IFCS so that when you jump from here to here, it's not going to go, oh my gosh, what's happening? And it will calm its pants down and move about normally. And we just have to go and fix up that camera position, and then teleportation should hopefully be fixed up and working nicely. Onto this one now.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it.
And now here's James with Elwin Batchelor from the Next Great Starship and his one-man team, Skyguard Fabrications.
Thanks, boss. I'm here with Elwin Batchelor Jr. Elwin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up?
Nothing much, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for sure.
You seem a little nervous.
Now that the cameras are rolling, yes.
But you're used to being on camera. I don't understand.
I don't know about that, man.
I saw you on camera numerous times.
I was technically on camera numerous times, but that was about 4 hours of footage cut down into like 30 seconds.
Well, this is going to be 4 hours of footage cut down to 10 minutes.
I hope not, because I have work to do.
You want to get into some questions?
Sure.
First question is from Sir Phasm. First of all, your skills and ideas truly impress me. I thought right away, this guy should work for them. Glad I was not the only one thinking that. Now that you're on board, what are you working on, and what do you wish you'd work on?
I can't exactly talk about exactly what I'm doing right this minute. What I can say is everyone knows that we're pretty fond of making variants of some of our ships. Mm-hmm. And so I'm literally putting the finishing touches today on one of those variants, which I think is going to be really cool. But some of the things that I've worked on since I've been here is I've redone the turret for the Constellation, and I built the engines for the M50, and I did some paneling work on that, as well as a couple of other things for the Freelancer and some other ships. But that's the bulk of the work that I've done so far. And when the variant that I'm working on now gets released.
That was close.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I'm just excited to see how people feel about it because it's the most work that I've put on a single ship. And I'm really proud of it. It's been a lot of long nights and weekends to get it done on time. But it's going to be pretty awesome.
So does the ship feel like yours?
The portions of it that I've worked on, yes, definitely. I mean, the concept art definitely is very represented in the final piece, but I've made some aesthetic changes based on my own taste to try and push it in a slightly different direction, but it's gonna look awesome. Yeah.
Cool, sure it will. So next question comes in from Blackjack21. What, if any, science fiction artists have inspired your work? And has that influenced any of the work you have done on Star Citizen?
So the answer is yes to the influence, and specifically, I will say this is actually before working on Star Citizen, like as an employee. For the next great starship, just to look for inspiration, I was looking for all kinds of spaceship concept work that's been done before. And I found the particular guy who made some really awesome concepts. And so I used that pretty heavily just for inspiration. And when I finally made it into the competition, I found out that the guy who I was using for inspiration also made it into the competition. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was a little mind bending where it's like, man, I really look up to this guy's skills and now we have to fight it out against each other. It's kind of interesting. That guy was Karanak, by the way.
I was gonna say it's the teacher becoming the master. See, I thought when you said you found that it was gonna be Hobbins.
No, well, I mean Hobbins too, yeah. And that was, it's been a pleasure to just work on some of his stuff. Yeah. I can't really say much about that, but yeah, his work is awesome. But anyway, Karanak was the guy who I was looking at in the competition. I think it was Team Troika, which they did an incredible ship. I really like Todd Lockwood. He doesn't do sci-fi work much. It's mostly like fantasy, like Dragonlance book covers and things like that. He does work for like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, cool.
And I've also gotten a lot of inspiration from John Bolton, and he does like a lot of dark vampire type of stuff.
It's an eclectic group of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of different styles, and the great thing about it is I sort of get to pick up little techniques from each one of them. Todd Lockwood, for example, like I love the way he works his colors. If you look it up, you'll see what I mean. It's got sort of like a creamy consistency to the way he does it. So those are just a handful of guys that I look up to.
Next question comes in from Mr. Bump. What has been the biggest change for you since going from being a fan and a backer to entering TNGS to working at CIG?
Well, I mean, hands down, the biggest change has been moving from New York City to Santa Monica.
Yeah, it's quite a change.
Right, so literally going from coast to coast.
Yeah.
Right? So not having my family around, my friends, my girlfriend, that makes it pretty tough to like readjust.
Where are your friends?
That's true. And now I have a new family at Star Citizen.
Aww.
But in terms of being a fan of the game and then becoming an employee of the game, I went from just wanting more content to be released as fast as possible. I just want to see the next ship. I want to fly the next ship. I want to give more money to get whatever. And now that I'm working here, it's like, please put the brakes on this thing.
Can we slow down a little bit?
Yeah, can we stop releasing things so quickly? It's super satisfying to have such a quick turnaround though, of like, hey, I just worked on this thing, 2 weeks later, it's like online and everybody's either loving it or hating it or whatever, but you're getting feedback immediately. So that's actually really, really cool. It's not something that you're used to sort of like in the game industry where you're sort of like turtled in for years and then all of a sudden you put out this baby and everyone hates it, and it's like, crap, those are the last 2 years of my life. What do I do now, right? The other part that that changed is sort of like my realization of the scope of the game. So as a fan, of course, I have my fantasies of what I want the game to be, right? I want it to be this grand thing. But then now as an employee, I'm looking at the smallest ship, like the M50, for example, which I don't know if it's a small ship, but it's pretty small.
Yeah.
And so I did damage states and LODs for that ship. And in the process of doing that, I realized how freaking complicated this ship is, right? There's so many moving parts. There are literally like hundreds of pieces on this thing that all have to work together to get it functioning properly. And that's the smallest ship. So then I'm thinking about, my goodness, the Bengal carrier.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time just like wrapping my mind around how to get that working properly. Like, it's so insane. So just like the realization of how much work actually goes into each one of these ships, that's actually been like the biggest perception change for me.
I'm with you on the scope thing. Like every time I hear more about what what's going to happen or where we're going. It's just constantly like, man, how? But then you see little pieces that come together and you're like, oh, wow, we actually are going to get there.
Yeah.
It just seems crazy to me.
Yeah, no, it's true. And if you start, I don't know if you played the dogfighting module, but like finally getting my hands. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
right?
what's that?
Yeah, what is Arena Commander, right? That really starts to give you sort of like a small taste, little by little, and just it's nice to get into it, like even as an employee, to just sit down and play the game and be like, oh yeah, these aren't just ideas, like this is actually coming together little by little. So it's going to be awesome, like to see it as an employee coming together. And I'm still like a massive fan of the game, obviously, right? So I'm kind of like living the dream here.
Yeah, a lot of people are have their dreams come true by working here. It's really special to walk around and see people like that. Last question comes from Angelus Rex. What alien ships would you find an interest in modeling?
Well, I can't say any names, but I will say, I think it's pronounced Xian or Jean. I always have trouble
There's a running
that.
thing in the office. What is it actually pronounced? Chris says Jean, so I'm going to go with that.
When I first read it as a fan, I would read it as Xian, which is completely wrong.
I was like, when I first read it, I was like, Xian.
Xian, which is what I just said.
Yeah.
I really like the Xian ships. The concept art for those are really awesome. I think you guys have gotten a taste of the Xian Scout.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite ship in the game right now.
Yeah? Yeah, so my favorite ship in the game is now the Retaliator. I don't know if you saw the video that came out for that.
I did.
That thing is insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you have the Hornet, and then you've got the Gladiator, and they're sort of brother and sister in a kind of way. I think that's about as much as I can say about this ship that I'm really excited about.
Okay.
But the brother to it would be the Xian Scout. And yeah, those ships are really awesome.
Do you like the Jean design more or like the Banu design more? Just in terms of what you would like to work on.
Oh man, that's tough because the Banu Merchantman concept art is gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really awesome. I'm gonna say that I really like the Xian, just the aesthetic in general of sort of having vertical ships. It makes them easy to identify at a distance. And I just like the idea that I can look at the ship and I know that if it's arranged in some sort of vertical way, even if I've never seen it before, I know it's a Xian ship. So I really like sort of compartmentalizing the species in that way. I think we were attempting to do something similar with the Vandal, where they were sort of going to be asymmetrical, but I don't know if that's actually going to pan out. But yeah, the Xians are really cool. They have some awesome technology. Yeah, and I would love to work on one of those. But not on the alien ship. I would say that I would also love to work on the 890 Jump, which I don't know if that's been shown yet, but the concept art for that is ridiculous.
It has not.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the Xian ship is one that I would really love to work on.
Cool, man. Well, that's all the questions we have. Anything else you want to say to the fans? I mean, you more than anyone have a sort of a special connection with the fans. Did you want to?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I would just say thank you for all the support. I mean, I'm pretty sure part of me being here right now has to do with just the outpouring of support that you guys had given me during the competition. And now I just hope that I can deliver the goods in order to make this game even better than what it was before. So, you know, I'm working on this because I really love it, and I'm hoping that the work I do is something that you guys love as well.
Thanks, man. That's real sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot, man.
Back to you guys.
It's really cool to see us hiring the people from TNGS, and Elwin is not the only one who is now working on Star Citizen, I believe.
No, he's not.
So
stay tuned.
Yep. Well, that's it for our show this week, but we'd like to leave you with, as always, an art sneak peek. You're going to enjoy this one.
Next week is CitizenCon, so we will not be having Around the Verse next week because we'll be really, really busy with getting a lot of super cool content ready for you guys, but we will be back the following week.
And I promise you, CitizenCon is going to blow this show away, so you're not losing anything. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribers for making the show possible. We will see you around the verse.
See you around the verse.